Hello, everyone. Welcome to Data and AI Summit. We're super excited that you're joining our session, which will talk about how Delta sharing is powering our new exclusive partnership with SAP, allowing customers to bring their SAP data into their Databricks lakehouse and power downstream outcomes through AI, BI, and analytics. By way of introduction, my name is Ben. I'm a product manager here at Databricks.
I am Darshana, and I'm also a product manager here at Databricks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leonardo Litz. I'm a Senior Data Service Manager at Natura.
Awesome. We're really excited to share about our vision for this partnership with SAP. Of course, product details are subject to change. Awesome. I also want to give a roadmap for how we're going to spend our next 40 minutes together. I'll start by giving an overview of the underlying challenges that we're aiming to solve with this integration. Then I'll pass the baton over to Darshana, who will talk about the various enhancements we've made to the Delta sharing protocol to help bring this partnership to life. I will come back on stage and give a demo of just an example use case that we plan to streamline through this Delta sharing integration. And then lastly, I'll hand the baton over to Leonardo, who will talk about how Natura, one of the biggest cosmetic brands in Brazil, plans on using this integration to onboard future SAP use cases. Great, let's jump right in. So why are we so excited about this partnership with SAP? Well, it's because we've heard from all of you that SAP is a critical data source for your operational teams, whether they be your finance teams, supply chain teams, inventory teams. Darshan and I were just at Sapphire in Orlando and Madrid, SAP's biggest sales conference. And across 120 customer conversations, it was abundantly clear that without being able to blend your data from SAP and your data from other sources, you can't power key business outcomes like revenue forecasting, inventory management, supply chain optimization. So, historically, customers have been trying to bring their data from SAP into their enterprise data platform to power these blending use cases. Historically, enterprise data platforms haven't offered a native way to bring that data from SAP into their enterprise data platform. So vendors have popped up and tried to introduce ways that customers can bring their SAP data into their data platforms through replication. Some of the common paradigms that we've seen are, one, customers replicating to customer-owned object storage, whether it be cloud object storage or relational databases, and then ingesting from there. The second being customers using a JDBC driver to directly query a database and then copy that data into a table on their data platform. Or the third, which happens more often than you'd think, using manual file transfer, literally downloading data from SAP as a CSV file and performing a local file ingest on their data platform. Now, at an enterprise scale, you have many, many SAP systems that you care about. You have your ERPs like S4 and ECC, and you have your line of business applications like Ariba, Concur, SuccessFactors. And for every one of these key business outcomes that you want to onboard, you need another replication pipeline to support it. And it was also abundantly clear at Sapphire that some of these replication pipelines can be pretty fragile. When you introduce a new replication pipeline, you have another resource that needs monitoring, investment, maintenance, but inevitably these pipelines do fail. And when they fail, that's when things get really messy. You don't have access to live data, and your business is effectively at a standstill. Your leaders can't make real-time decisions. Your engineers are deployed away from high-value use cases to actually fix these replication pipelines. And your analysts can't deliver net new insights because they don't have access to live data. So very quickly, we start to see the underlying challenges that customers are facing when they use replication as a way to bring their SAP data into their data platforms. And I summarize them across 6 main dimensions. The first, and arguably the most important, is governance. When you create a replica of data from SAP, now you have this replica that's floating around in your enterprise, and you have no way to track who has access to it, how are they using it, and what are the downstream assets that are being created from that asset. The second being silos. Once you create a copy of data, it effectively becomes stale in that moment. It's a shallow copy. And if these replication pipelines fail, now you're referencing old data and you're at a standstill. On costs, you also have operational costs and opportunity costs. Operationally, when these pipelines fail, you have to deploy your valuable engineering hours, engineering ideas towards fixing these replication pipelines. Now, the opportunity cost is your business is at a standstill and you can't make progress, you can't make real-time insights because you don't have access to that live data. On semantics, what makes SAP data so valuable is actually the rich semantic data that SAP provides. And many of these replication patterns that we're seeing customers are using can't propagate that rich semantic data. On performance, when you use a database driver, you actually introduce additional strain on the source system. At Sapphire, I heard over and over again that some of these ERPs in enterprises are about to tip over because of how much strain they're under. And then lastly, on compliance, a lot of these third-party replication methods aren't actually complying with the various licensing rules and support notes that SAP has recently issued. So this partnership aims to address each of these challenges so that your data teams don't have to focus on the plumbing of these replication pipelines and rather can pour into the insights that this rich SAP data can deliver when blended with the rest of your enterprise data platform. I want to walk you through the architecture of how this integration is actually coming to life. And there are 4 main components. The first is SAP Business Data Cloud. This is a new analytics platform for the SAP estate that SAP just announced. It brings your SAP estate to the cloud through 4 main products. You have SAP DataSphere, you have BW, SAP Analytics Cloud, and a new suite of SAP Intelligent Apps. Again, all in the cloud. The second component is SAP Curated Data Products. These are SAP managed gold level assets that are available to the rest of your enterprise. SAP will actually manage pipelines from your source applications, your ERPs and your line of business applications, run that raw data through a series of transformations, and then land that gold level asset in the managed storage layer of Business Data Cloud to then be used for downstream applications by the rest of your enterprise. The third component and the focus of this conversation is the new integration between SAP and Databricks powered by Delta Sharing. This allows any Databricks user in a governed manner through Unity Catalog to read data from SAP that physically lives in SAP without performing physical replications. And this integration is bidirectional, so SAP users can also read data that lives in Databricks in a fully governed manner. And lastly, we introduced a new flavor of Databricks called SAP Databricks. This instance of Databricks is an SAP application. It lives inside SAP Business Data Cloud and serves as the AI and analytics engine of the SAP estate. It's not meant to replace your enterprise data platform, but rather be an AI and analytics sidecar for your SAP practitioners who want to perform AI and analytics. So I'm going to bring this back to the underlying challenges that we've been aiming to solve in partnership with SAP. And together, through this partnership, we aim to address each and every one of these challenges. With regard to governance, now we're bringing the full power of Unity Catalog to your SAP data without having to worry about having to govern various replicas of that SAP data. You can govern SAP data in place through the full power of Unity Catalog. On silos, through Delta Sharing, we now enable live access of your SAP data. You don't have to, again, you don't have to worry about creating copies or performing CDC to merge these copies of data. This data is produced once in SAP, it lives there, and Databricks can read that data. On cost, SAP is waiving egress costs that you're used to paying. You know, customers are used to paying this cost called premium outbound integration. SAP is waiving that in this partnership, given that we're using Delta Sharing. On semantics, through curated data products, SAP is pushing all of this rich semantic information that makes SAP data so valuable, allowing Databricks users to read that data so you don't have to rebuild that semantic layer on your own. On performance, Delta Sharing is a protocol that's been proven to scale with data volumes, query loads, and is used by thousands of our customers in production every day. And on compliance, this is now the blessed path to access your SAP data in a live manner in an enterprise data platform. No other enterprise data platform on the market can say that they have this exclusive right to read live data from SAP in that platform. So with that, I'm super excited to hand the baton over to Darshana, who will now walk through the various enhancements we've made to the Delta Sharing protocol to support this partnership.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Before I get started, can I see a quick show of hands? How many of you are already familiar with delta sharing or have used delta sharing before? Awesome, super great to see that more than 50% of the room raised hands. So what is delta sharing? It's an open sharing protocol that we made generally available about 3 years back. And there are two primary value propositions for delta sharing. The first is it's an open sharing protocol. You don't need to be on Databricks to use delta sharing. In fact, you can spin up your own delta sharing server and start collaborating. Even if you are on Databricks, you can share assets with recipients outside Databricks. We have connectors to many popular tools like Power BI, Spark, Python, Tableau. And in fact, 40% of shares that go from Databricks go to these recipients outside Databricks. And really, this is a value proposition that has taken a lot of our customers. Second is delta sharing is a diverse asset sharing protocol. With delta sharing on Databricks, you can share more than just structured tables. You can share AI models, notebooks, unstructured arbitrary files. We call these volumes. So these can be PDFs, images, video files. And what's super interesting about delta sharing is it's a no copy sharing protocol. So what does this mean? As a provider, when you make an asset available via a share to a recipient, there's basic metadata that's exchanged between provider and recipient, but there isn't any data copying that takes place. When the recipient runs analytics on their side, that's when there's data movement from the provider to the recipient. The recipient always has access to fresh live data on the provider side. So that's why we say it's a no copy sharing protocol. We are super excited to partner with SAP on this bidirectional sharing integration between SAP Business Data Cloud and Databricks powered by delta sharing. This connection between SAP BDC as well as SAP Databricks works the same way as a connection between SAP BDC as well as your existing native Databricks accounts, which will be the focus of this presentation. So let's talk through this integration using an actual example. Let's assume I'm a data engineer at an organization and I am part of the office of the CFO, right? So I'm interested in bringing SAP cash flow data into Databricks in order to perform revenue forecasting. For this, I work with my SAP BDC admin and my Databricks admin to establish a secure connection between SAP BDC as well as Databricks. The connection itself is powered by OIDC and MTLS, so it's very secure. There's no secrets that are shared between any of the parties involved. Once you bring this data from SAP BDC into Databricks, you can leverage our data intelligence platform suite of capabilities for analytics, AI, machine learning to bring more value on top of your data. You can also leverage UC, which you get out of box under the hood on Databricks for governance. So capabilities like lakehouse monitoring, lineage, fine-grained access control, all of that you get out of box. It's very likely that on the SAP side, you have already some fine-grained access control on top of your data products, right? For example, you want to make sure that Bob has access only to the data that he's supposed to have access to, nothing more, nothing less. Once you bring this data into Databricks, you can apply traditional RLS CM. On this shared data, you can also leverage UC's new paradigm for governance called ABAC, or attribute-based access control, to apply these dynamic filters on the shared data. So in the example here, user A is allowed to have access to all data, right? User B is allowed to see only non-Europe related data through an RLS filter. I'm sure a question that all of you have is, what data products can you bring from SAP BDC into Databricks? What's awesome about BDC is in itself, it's an end-to-end analytics platform. And BDC alleviates the need for heavy lifting ETL to build data products from scratch. BDC comes with a suite of out-of-box curated data products across different domains, from ERP, HR, finance, and so on. And you can bring all of these curated data products from SAP to Databricks. You can see the full list of existing data products which are curated by visiting the URL mentioned in the slide. And SAP continues to add more curated data products over time. But not just that, You can also bring custom data products from BDC into Databricks that you build on top of your existing SAP CDS views and tables. So when is this integration coming? What's coming after the initial launch? Stay tuned for more announcements from SAP and Databricks regarding this. We have a launch coming in Q3 this year. I already spoke about how you can bring curated as well as custom data products from BDC into Databricks. We're also working on preserving semantic data, so all your rich business context that you have within BDC into Databricks and vice versa, via preservation of column comments, table comments, and so on. Those of you who are already familiar with Databricks to Databricks delta sharing know that over the past year, we significantly improved performance of delta sharing via cloud token sharing mechanism, which basically bulk shares underlying files. So we're bringing the same mechanism to the open protocol, which will also benefit this integration immensely. And so with that, let me pass the baton over back to Ben, who will show you a demo of this integration.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am back with my figurative and literal data engineering hat on. For this demo, I want to walk through an example supply chain use case. At Sapphire, Darshana and I heard that one of the most common and anticipated umbrella of use cases is around supply chain. So in this case, I want to walk through what it looks like to perform some supply chain pricing analysis using this integration. So with that, very excited to welcome you to Lakehouse Loafers. We are a shoe manufacturer that relies on three main suppliers. We have Sam Soles, Hallie's Heels, and Leslie's Laces. And in this demo, we're going to integrate supplier information that we're getting from SAP and the various pricing information that we're getting from each of these suppliers. Now, these suppliers have Databricks accounts as well, and they're sharing that pricing information through delta sharing as well. So in this demo, we're essentially going to integrate data that's coming in from SAP as well as all of our suppliers through delta sharing, build a report, and then make a recommendation to leadership based on the pricing insights that we're gaining. So with that, I'm going to switch over to my laptop. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I'm wearing my data engineering hat on. As a data engineer, bringing data from SAP into Databricks has traditionally been a pretty involved task, as we saw through those three common paradigms that we're seeing customers doing. Now, with this new integration with SAP, it's a lot more simple. No pipeline plumbing at all. Essentially, as we can see, SAP shows up as a data provider alongside the rest of my other suppliers who are supplying me data as well. And within this provider, I can also see the list of active data products that I have in my landscape. So, pulling this back, traditionally, if I wanted to get any sort of supplier or fiscal information from SAP into Databricks, I had to construct these pipelines, land that data somewhere in some sort of storage temporarily, and then ingest that data into Databricks. Now, this is readily available to me in a gold state, which I can operate on directly. For the data product that I'm interested, this would be the supplier data product in this case. I can actually mount it to a catalog. And once that data product is mounted to a catalog, it now becomes a UC object, just like any other object that you have in your Unity catalog in your Lakehouse. All of this metadata is being read live from SAP. None of this data actually physically lives in Databricks, which makes this beautiful. You don't have to worry about the actual physical replication of these bytes and the charges associated with that. Rather, this is all being provided to you out of box. Now, I'm bringing this data from SAP into Databricks because I want to blend it with my non-SAP data. As you can see, I have these other data sets that are being shared by my suppliers. And what I want to do now is blend the data I'm getting from SAP about my suppliers with the pricing information that I'm getting from my suppliers. So I'm going to open up a notebook. And in this cell, you can see this is where the magic starts to happen. And this is where I transition from my data engineering hat to my data science hat, where we try to now blend these various data sets together to find some net new insights. From SAP, I'm pulling in my supplier names and the city in which my suppliers are located. And then from each of my suppliers, I'm getting pricing information to build this unified view of all the pricing information of my suppliers. That gives me this historical view. Now, I also want to look into the future and see what do we predict these prices will look like over the next 5 years. And using our new AI forecast function in DB SQL, I can now perform a forecast of my choosing. In this case, I choose a 5-year forecast to see what prices will look like between now and 2030. And then finally, in this notebook, I can build this tabular view of all my historical prices, as well as my future predicted prices as well. Now, as a data scientist, this is beautiful because I've blended this data, but I want to make sure that this information is consumable by my non-technical team members and my leadership, so I can put together a recommendation for them. So this is where, if you'll indulge me one more time, I'll take off my data science hat and put on my business analyst hat, and we'll navigate over to Databricks AI BI, where we can now build a series of dashboards based on this blended pricing information. And this dashboard you're seeing is now I can take the sum of all the pricing from my suppliers and track over time. As we can see, our inputs are getting more and more expensive. Leadership would definitely want to know why and from who these prices are getting more expensive. So in our AI BI product, I can now do a drill down into the various suppliers and their individual prices. And as we can see, historically, Sam's Souls has been our most expensive provider, but based on the slope of these lines, Hallie's Heels has gotten pretty expensive over time. So I'm gonna make one more dashboard now tracking the actual relative change of these prices from suppliers. And in this dashboard, you can see if I track the actual percentage change of supplier prices over time, Hallie's Heels has definitely gotten the most expensive, relatively. Over time, Hallie's Heels we project to be at least around 200% more expensive by 2030 than when we started with them. So at this point, I have a suspicion that Hallie's Heels has gotten pretty expensive. We should probably reconsider who our heels provider is for our shoe. But I know my leadership team is pretty savvy statistically, and I know they'll probably want some basic statistics measures to help me back this claim I'm making. So we don't see price volatility represented in this dashboard, and as part of this last mile delivery of analytics, I want to use Genie as a way to perform conversational analytics. Particularly, I want to track price volatility, and I'm going to do that by asking Genie if they can help me calculate the standard deviation of prices over time. So I'm going to press enter here, and what Genie's actually doing is going across our Unity catalog. It's looking at our data set that we pulled in from SAP. It's looking at our data sets that we pulled in from each of our suppliers, and through blending the insights from both of those data sets, is now going to build a SQL query and build some sort of answer to this question around price volatility. And internet has been pretty choppy with me today, given we're in this in Moscone. I ran this query beforehand, just in case. And as we can see, Genie can now combine data from SAP with data from our suppliers, and it helped me answer this question on price volatility, helping me with that last mile set of analytics. So this is just one example of a use case that we aim to help streamline and integrate with SAP by bringing SAP data into your Databricks Lakehouse. Darshana and I'm going to flip back to the slides here. Darshana and I are particularly excited about the various use cases that you plan to bring on to the Databricks Lakehouse through this Delta sharing integration with SAP. And we'd love to chat more after the session about those use cases. But now it is my pleasure to invite on stage Leonardo. He is a senior data manager at Natura. Fun fact, Natura is one of the largest SAP estates in Latin America. I think about 120 terabyte estate. So super excited to learn how they're bringing their SAP data into their Databricks Lakehouse using this integration.
Thank you, Ben. So Natura is a global purpose-driven group of branding, Natura and the Avon, with $5 billion revenue. We connect more than 200 million clients around the world. Engaging them drove more than 3 million consultants, 1,000 stores, and 14,000 employees. We are a well-being ecosystem that believe in promoting positive economic, social, and environmental impact. We believe in the power of cooperation, co-creation, and collaboration for a better way of living and doing business. We are Natura. Okay, sorry. So to start my presentation, I would like to share you our vision about data, analytics, and Gen AI at Natura. Great. To address our vision, we create a data strategy with 4 programs. The first program is data expansion. It's responsible for all technology disciplines of the data, implementing data platform, integrations tools, monitoring, observability, and support all the process and infrastructure. The second one is data care. It's the data governance program responsible for to define policies and rules to access and use data according with the legislation. It is also responsible for evaluate data quality and maturity across all the company. Data for All is our darling program, responsible to promote data literacy and culture, organize knowledge, capacity, and train the data community. And the last one is the Natura AI. It's the program that addresses analytic AI and Gen AI initiatives in order to get value and generate impact to the business. So to understand more about us, I'd like to show you some big numbers that to try to explain about our IT environment and the size of our data challenge. We have more than 400 transactional systems in Natura, 2,000 databases in Databricks, 700 Databricks active users, 240 lakehouse storage size, and 70 sandbox. To scale up use of data across all the company, we decided to adopt a hub-spoke model to bring autonomy to users without losing governance. This model is supported by a big data platform, Databricks. We centralize data from many different sources in a layer that we call replica. This layer is exactly equal a data source. Some structures, some data, without any change. Every area in Natura have an isolated sandbox to explore, do analysis, and develop their own data product. This sandbox can access data from replica or can upload manually data. After finishing the development, the user can deploy your data product to production. Then this can be used for all the company. I'd like to share you how SAP is important at Natura. We are the biggest SAP unique instance installation of Latin America, with more than 120 terabytes of information and more than 15,000 users. Heavy access on Databricks, it's a game changer. It's unlocked more than 50 data and AI initiatives across all the company. So we decided to adopt SAP BDC after 3 months studying, analyzing, and testing solutions. Then we decided to use SAP BDC working together with delta sharing. It's the better option for us. To help us for it, we're gonna use Cockpit, Delta, DataSphere, and the Object Store models of SAP BDC. To bring data from SAP, we use the replication flow tools that connect on SLT of SAP S4 and move data to HANA data lake files inside SAP BDC. Then we will share it using delta sharing to Databricks. After that, many jobs read this SAP data, process, transform into data product business viewers. Finally, the end of users can access that products using data visualization tools, consume them in Cycle Warehouse, or even share them with other partners using delta sharing too. So, use SAP BDC represents a strategic opportunity for us. It allows data to be integrated into Databricks natively, securely, and in line with SAP own best practices. By adopting SAP BDC, we reduce technical complexity, gaining governance, performance, and scalability. More than just implement a tool, this change positions us on a SAP technological path, opens up space for modernization data flows, and reinforce our foundation for analytics and initiatives. The benefits that we hope to have are: be more core clean, have official support of supplier, native integration with SAP BDC, performance optimized, and reduce the number of pipelined fails. One of the initiatives that will be benefit is iP&L. I bring to you one use case that you are very proud of. iP&L is an initiative that combines data and our passion for innovation and society. We believe that the value of the company is connected to this capacity to contribute to the evolution of your society. And in order to collaborate with the border change that the world needs, the first step is to measure our impact. It's consolidate data not only for financial results, but also the impact of corporates in the environmental, social, and human decisions. The study's results consider several other fronts of the company's performance, such as carbon emission and offsetting, regeneration and conservation biomass, income generation for network, and the impacts of health and welfare. According to the model's application, every €1 of Natura revenue, the brand generates a net return of 2.7 benefits for society. The technical challenge that we have is every quarter we need to consolidate data from over more than 60 different data sources in different frequencies and granularity. The solution that we found is integrate these data from the systems in the unit catalog, mainly the SAP, to accelerate the process and use all the cluster of the Databricks to accelerate the process. And the impact that we have is 16 times faster to calculate iP&L, reducing the time from 3 months to 2 weeks. 17 more granularity in data, and 90% reduction of operational tasks, filling teams to focus on strategic analysis. If you want to know more about this use case, scan the QR code. Then